Hey everyone, this is DayTraderRockStar, and this is a market radar update. New feature I'm trying to push out there, market radar, just to talk about, give a directional call on the markets based on any of the indicators that we use. We left off on Sunday throwing out the 10 for 1,000 watch list and actually kind of putting a little radar, looking for a 2-day rally, possibly 3, maybe more, but definitely a relief rally starting Sunday night and going into Tuesday, and that's exactly what we had. It was textbook setup. Monday we had that big rally. Today we had the follow through, and yeah, we sold off a little bit at the end of the day, but everything kind of gave us a positive bias in the markets. We got a lot of crossing over on the stochastic readings on a lot of different sectors, and right now that daily chart is in kind of in a bullish trend. A lot of times, you're watching the market so much based on the news. We saw some selling at the end of the day, and it almost looked like, whoa, selling, grease is back on the table. We started hearing more commentary coming out. Here's the 60-minute chart, and the 60-minute chart actually gave us a good indication saying, be careful. When we get into that level over there, we tend to want to take profits into that level. And that's just a rule to keep us disciplined, to keep us getting in and out of the market. So we understand that gives us a higher probability of a pullback, and that's exactly what we're seeing. It was news with grease maybe, or was it something else? It was just a technical level where people were just selling, taking profits into the move. It's hard to really gauge, but what it is happening is that we had that little sell-off going in. So where does that leave us? And actually, I want to take a closer look at that sell-off. I think this is very interesting. It was a beautiful head and shoulders pattern that played out today. This is the 1-minute chart. This is a chart you'll see each and every day on the site that we follow, because we trade the futures along with equities. And this is just a classic head and shoulders topping pattern with a breakdown. There's a measured move. We came down a little, spike down through the measured move, but that spike down actually came to a 1 through 3 pattern. And a 1 through 3 pattern basically taking the 3 pivot areas, the first 3 pivot areas. And this was really a difficult level because you wouldn't really see this until at this point. If you could match this pivot area and this trend line, all these trend lines seem to go right together right here. This bottom and this pivot, a spike down pivot, which is really the pivot. Here's the pivot area going from higher to low, and here's another pivot going from higher to low. So these 3 areas actually make up this perfect parallel channel, and that's what a 1, 2, 3 pattern is going to do. It's going to give you a number 4, which is the area you want to trade. So once you have recognized 1, 2, and 3, you already identified number 4 as the price is coming down to it. You already put this parallel line in here. So anywhere along this line, you could actually take that trade off. And this combined with some of the stochastic settings setting up, and then we started getting into a nice little rhythm there. So overall, nice patterns on the market. We had the inverted head and shoulders pattern playing out to the downside, and that leaves us back looking at the we're going to take another look at the 60-minute chart, and the 60-minute chart also showing us that we're kind of pushed up against this channel, starting to roll back. So what is the call for tomorrow? That's the big question. Well, we leave off bullish on the daily. The 5-minute we leave off bullish. We had a nice little bounce, and the 60-minute chart is kind of negative. We're going to use the 60-minute chart a lot this week and going into next week because of the volatility, and you want to be a much faster trader. So I want to actually go over a few stocks after this that I'm going to be trading on the 60-minute chart tomorrow. I did some research, some back testing, and these stocks have been really working well off the 60-minute. I'm going to show you which ones we're going to be focused on. So again, going into tomorrow, it kind of defaults back to news. I do feel that the bias is still positive for a rally, but the negative news out there, if there's anything overhanging this market, that's going to definitely bring more fear into the market, and kind of you have to take the sideline at that point until things clear up. It's kind of a gamble. If there wasn't any more news, I would say this rally continues to hold, and we can actually turn back up here on the. I don't know if we're going to get a direct breakdown yet. Could happen, but it's going to have a lot to do with what's going to come out in the news. So again, cautious on the radar, and hate doing that, but a slight bias to the upside. Now we're going to go into some stocks that we're going to be looking at tomorrow. All right, first thing we want to do is we're going to focus on stocks that we could trade intraday or more in a short-term time frame, and for that we want to break the time frame down, and not to just daily and weekly time frames, but we want to also look at the 60-minute, which gives us much faster triggers. And when I talk about triggers, we're waiting for probability, overbought and oversold levels to come into play. And this was a good one. I just did a scan. I saw Google setting up. I said, wow, that's a nice rotation on the stochastics. Let me just go back and just take a look at the moves each time it got into an oversold level. Very easily to go back here and just map it out, and you could see, you have an average, from here to here with these. I mean, that's 15 points. But even in the smaller moves where we got I try to give this a benefit of the doubt. You're getting about 10 points on these moves on the rotation, and I'm not looking for 10 points in anything. So if you could scalp Google and some of these bigger stocks here with just using options, and a lot of people on the site have been actually using that technique, and it's been working out great. I'm very impressed with the action too. So this is something I also want to kind of key in on going into tomorrow, and just kind of monitoring these setups. So Google is definitely one that I want to continue to actually follow and try to trade off of this. Now we're coming back in Google on a pullback here, and it's possibly could be setting up again at the open. We're going to have a very volatile market, so this could actually swing around a lot before really starting to move. You could be getting crazy and then starting to move up, but you want to make sure that you get through that early morning flush, or you're going to be more gambling here, and let the market get into a rhythm. So that's what we want to do. We want to see something get into a rhythm, and just kind of be able to time it. It doesn't mean you have to be in at 9:30 on the dot. You could wait. You don't have to. There's so many different stocks here that are going to be setting up. So let's go to the next one and just see what we can read into it. Again, I stick to quality names, but you can see Google, how nice that is. And again, this works on both sides. You have to remember overbought levels, represent a pullback or a short, and sometimes you're going to get that choppiness. But even in that choppiness, you start to see those, those pullbacks. I mean, there's 3-4 point moves in that choppiness each time, but you really want to just kind of gauge the overall market news. You feel if there's a calm in the storm, if there's a lot of volatility and things are getting very sporadic and stuff, you might want to step out. But if things seem to be just in a nice little pace and things seem to be okay, then you can actually use these to your advantage. So we're going to take a look at the next stock. And this is the Archer Daniel Midland. And what I wanted to show you here is, again, a stock on the 60-minute chart that really just rotates well. When I say rotates, it makes a nice move. And once it got back down into an oversold level, and that oversold level is really a level under 20 here. And we kind of just marked that off. Here's one. Here's one. Here. Remember, this is just a kind of a directional trade. You could over 80. Is right here and here, and basically you're looking at, all right, I'd rather have this on my side going into a scalp than anything else, because it has always shown you that you have a better tendency to move in the direction of the beginning of the stochastic. It's rolling over, then a downward. If it's turning back up, you have an upward bias. And if the stochastic rotation on the 60 takes an average of a day to 2 days, it gives you a nice potential area to gain some decent profits instead of being in there just for a few pennies. So it gives you a lot to work with. And you can see right here a nice little pullback, and you have to manage your stop correctly. Have a good risk reward. Don't get in too much, and just try it with small shares first. The smaller shares you could do, the better you're going to be able to kind of just have confidence in the style of trading and take profits faster. It doesn't matter if you're making $200 or $20, as long as you're doing the right thing. Because that'll build upon itself. You could always raise the stakes, but to learn doing 20 shares is much better than sometimes learning and losing with 200 shares, because you have too much on the table for yourself. You don't have you just don't want to risk that. You're too nervous. You're getting emotional about it. So definitely, what I'd like to do. I like to do 4 or 5 of my good setups and take the setups as they come and go in with light shares. It kind of adds up. You have a better chance of a lot of those working out. Plus, you have a smaller amount of shares, but they all add up. And the $50 trades here and there add up to a couple $100 trades by the end of the day. And it's a much, you feel much more comfortable on it. You don't have to, there's ways that they're doing this the proper way. Amazon, AMZN. And that was Archer Daniel Midland ADM. That was an ADM. Amazon, another stock that's recently gapped up. and now we're kind of pulling back, and you can see the daily is actually pulling back into an oversold level. So this is a nice pullback from that gap up. And again, we're going to really take a look at that 60-minute chart and want to take the trade on the directional side of the trade. So if it does pull back or open up down here, and this actually comes down after being kind of choppy and embedded from here to here, there's a better chance of a good rotation. When you start to see a consolidation here, that first pullback usually bounces quickly, and you start to get into a rhythm after a consolidation. So we're going to look to see if we get a quick bounce here. Wherever this ends up, that would be the optimal place you want to take that trade. And again, to the downside too. It has a downward bias, so it might be able to catch more downside. Cabela is one that seems to be acting real well too. It's pushing up against the 200 period moving average. Probably not going to watch this one as much, but I did like the action on the 60-minute. Even going back here, you could see how even this choppiness that was going, even choppiness and sideways consolidation, but that sideways consolidation still gave you some ups and good downs, and each signal was a nice little bounce. So even if you're not even seeing that big gain where we had here, and then we had this overbought level, and then we slammed down and we're oversold, and then we're pushed back up, and then we're sloppy. It seems like this is getting back into a rotation. That's why I put it here. I'd like to see if this comes a nice smooth move down here, and then from that point on, you capture a trade possibly to the upside if this seems to be like forming this little inverted head and shoulders pattern. But sometimes it's about looking at a trade and seeing what it looks like, measuring it out before it happens and preparing yourself for it. The preparation for a trade and having it on your table just means so much. Colgate-Palmolive, CL. Great stock for the 60-minute. I mean, this is a quality name. The tendency of this one is to move up, especially in weak markets. It sometimes is a safety stock, and this is not that bad of a stock. It's you can see it's actually pulling back. It's holding above the 50-period moving average. It's a little choppy here, but that 60-minute really defines not the chop, but more of an opportunity. An opportunity to really key in on certain levels on this. It's a very easy stock to read. So CL here, boom, like very nice pullbacks right here. Each three of these pullbacks have given you a nice entry. In this case, we kind of got real choppy, but you did get an upward bias here most of the day, and it kind of stalled out. Next day, of course, you hold. This is a style of trading, so you don't have to risk as much holding overnight. I mean, if this was still setting up, you see there is going to be times when there is that sideways consolidation. But this is also a technique which you call a positive stochastic divergence, is where the price level, stays above that recent low, and you get a pullback. So that was really a more of a positive signal there. Overbought to oversold, oversold to overbought, pulled back. I mean, it's just a roadmap for you. All you have to do is wait for the next stop, get on the bus, and and take that to the next level. So this is Colgate-Palmolive CL, and not a bad stock. Again, you just have to measure out. Sometimes you say, "Well, what's my potential here?" Well, this on the pullback here, it came down to about $98, give or take a few pennies, and it went up to about $100. So you don't even have to. You're not ever going for that extreme. You're not going to get in at the lows, get in the bottom. But what I like to do is, if it's moving, if it's moving $2, on a normal move or something like that, locking that 50 cents, put in a, not that I always do this, but then put that trailing stop in and just let it ride. But locking that 50 cents and let it ride, because you're going to have a better reaction. These trades work out. Here they are. You see them. Even in this environment, they work out. So it's hard to go against that. What I would say, again, find some quality stocks, or follow the station. Get on the station. You'll see us trading those. I'm going to be focused on these tomorrow. We're going to be focusing on these stocks tomorrow. So you're going to see we rotate each one. Oh, Colgate-Palmolive setting up. All right, let's go for that. VeriSign, VRSN. I don't know if this is setting up or not. I just wanted to look at it. VRSN. Why is it not coming up? There it is. That's it's not bad. It looks like it's starting to rotate, because this was a very choppy area here, and like I said, when you see it a very choppy, that's because of the downward pressure. And once that downward pressure comes out, we start to rotate a much better place. Like this becomes a much better level until you break down. So if the market does break down, there's bad news. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. This could get very ugly again. But I'm going to take it that, we still have some time before Greek elections, that we're going to start rotating out, and we're going to see this type of pattern play out again. So again, VeriSign, VRSN, will be on the list tomorrow. But again, Google, Apple, any of these stocks you could go through. If you find one, again, we have a lot of members in the room who contribute to the chat room, and this is going out to you guys too. So, we'll work together, finding some good setups. We'll bring them to the room. Some of the option guys will throw out some option plays. We'll monitor the trades on the board, and we'll take it from there. As some short setups, a couple of possible short setups. Disney, just getting overbought on the stochastics. Disney had a recent nice little run up. I'm not really a big fan of Disney on the short side. Actually, I didn't really look at this. I just was looking at the 60-minute chart before. This has been pretty strong. I probably wouldn't even be looking at it anyway. J&J, I think, was a little better set up as a bear flag on the 60-minute. And we're starting to kind of just a little consolidation here, a little sideways consolidation. But again, what I'm keying in on is a little overbought level. So if we do drop off here, that looks like a potential pullback guy. And Procter & Gamble was a key, easy, nice little bearish flag that we pointed out on the watch list. And that was just a classic sideways consolidation to the 20. The 20 push the pressure on the stock, and the stock breaks down, and you could see the crossover. So that was continues to look good. And then the STX here, I put it on the list. I wanted to look at it fast with you. Seems like it does have a pullback already underway, but I was actually looking at this consolidation, which really didn't get any bounce over the last 2 days, or at least actually today we had that spike down and then a sideways consolidation. So, but the real keys, I think, we'll look at the Google ADM. I like the ADM a lot. This one looks like it's really well behaved, and there's other stocks here we'll keep an eye on. But again, this will all happen tomorrow morning, and hope to see you in the markets there. I'll be on the station 8 o'clock tomorrow, and I'll see you then. Day Trading Radio at daytradingradio.com, and I'm DayTraderRockStar.